Sweep picking becomes 100 times easier once you know what to practice. Sweep picking is a huge title that under it lie many different ways to utilize it. From 3-string sweeps to bar sweeps to unorthodox shapes, a combination of those, or many other different forms. But what's the easiest way to learn to sweep and actually sound like you're sweeping instead of just playing random exercises? The answer is none of those. You see, there are two main ways to learn how to sweep pick. The first one, using exercises that develop your sweep picking slowly. They help you understand the concept better, and when you're ready, you start incorporating harder exercises. The second way is by playing the two easiest major and minor arpeggios there are to sweep: the major and the minor. As a matter of fact, many players who can sweep can only play these two shapes with slight variations to them. These shapes contain no finger rolls, are easy to remember, sound beautiful, can be played at lightning speed, and most importantly, are easy. So let's get to it. This is how I learned how to sweep. Okay, let's start with the easier shape of the two, the major 7 arpeggio. We're gonna learn to sweep down and then back up. So we start with a down pick, which is the start of our down sweep. After this, the next note is hammered using our pinky. And then we continue on playing the rest of the arpeggios using the same down picking motion. Mind you, we're not picking every note, we're simply continuing the initial down pick motion that we already started. Just like when strumming a chord, you're not picking every note individually, and that's exactly what we're doing here, only a bit slower. So when we reach the first string, there are two options to turn around and start the up sweep. The first is by hammering the next note and then pull off back. The second is by picking the next note and starting the up sweep from there. Take a look at how both of these look and sound. I usually prefer using a pull-off, but test both of them yourself, see what's more comfortable to you. If both of them are equally uncomfortable, then go for the one that sounds better in your opinion. You can reach the same heights and the same speed with either one. Okay, after the turnaround, now we're sweeping up. This is done using the exact same technique as sweeping down. The only thing that's changed is the direction of the sweep. Okay, let's get to the minor 7 shape, which is very similar to the major 7 we just played with slight changes. So there are only 3 notes that are different, but the way they play and feel very similar. Again, we're starting with a down pick that starts the initial down sweep, and everything else is executed the exact same way. A few tips before we get to the exercises. When sweeping down, your right hand, your picking hand, should mute all the unused strings, the open strings, and the strings you just finished sweeping. This makes for a super fluid and smooth sound. So doing this is super uncomfortable at first, but becomes second nature in about a week if you practice this from the start. If you don't, it'll be very hard and can take years to learn this. 2, you'll find that down sweeping and up sweeping are very different, and one is going to be harder than the other. It varies from person to person, so don't get frustrated if you feel like your up sweeps and your down sweeps are not on the same level. You'll get there in time. Okay, now that we know how to sweep, let's get to 3 different exercises to help you master this technique in no time. As always, you can find tab and backing tracks in different tempos in my Patreon, as well as Patreon exclusive lessons. So in this exercise, we're playing each arpeggio twice. Doing this helps us understand them better and learn how they work. It also gives us enough time to get ready for the next arpeggio. It's like taking a small break to prepare ourselves. As you get more used to it and feel comfortable playing these arpeggios, move on to the next exercise. Exercise number 2. So we practice each arpeggio just once this time, and this puts an emphasis on switching between shapes fast, smoothly, and with ease. It's a bit more challenging to play compared to the first exercise, especially in higher tempos. Exercise number 3. Just like the second exercise, this one is quite similar, but there's a little twist this time. We're beginning the sweeps from the higher strings as opposed to the lower ones. So instead of starting with a down sweep like before, we begin by sweeping upward, and then we turn around with a down sweep. This change helps us become more comfortable with both down sweeping and up sweeping. It also adds a different sound, and as you play this, you'll notice that it feels a lot different to start with an up sweep as opposed to a down sweep. Thanks for watching!